Welcome back, everyone. This is Practical IT. We're conducting the React.js tutorial. So on the previous one, we have seen on how we have converted the hard-coded values of creating like the checkbox using like one path. That's going to be using the map. And on this one, we're going to continue and we're going to have like the introduction part for the functional component. And with that, we're going to see even much better way of handling such kind of situations. So we're going to take part a little bit and then remind that a component is going to be a part of a page. So we don't want to have like everything on one component. So whenever it is going to be necessary or make sense, then we have to decouple or we have to take out the part and then put it on its own component. So in this particular case, you can see like the input over here has like a lot, and it looks like a couple of things are handling over here. So it would be much more better just to have the component of like just for the checkbox so that we can pass like all the rest of the things as the parameter or a prop. And from there, the component is going to handle it. So we're going to take a look on that one. And in the meantime, we're going to introduce a new concept that's going to be a functional component. So a functional component is technically the same as far like the content and the task and everything is concerned, is the same as that of the class. But prior to that of like the version 16.8, the class was supposed to be having only where you can have like your states, or if you want to have like a state aware kind of a component, then you have to use like the the class component in the previous. But now that has been changed, starting from like 6.8, like the functional components can have also the state or any other things that the class can do using like the hooks. So we're going to cover that one in the upcoming videos. But for now, let's assume that the next ones, it doesn't require any kind of state, or like this state is not going to be just required to be handled on that one. So we're going to go ahead and then just create a functional component, and I'm going to explain on how we're going to be handling that one. And the other thing is on this one, under the source, we have like everything pretty much like on the same space. But as we are having like larger and larger number of components, then the advisable way is just to have a component folder and then just to have inside there. So I'm going to have components. And actually, there isn't any limitation on this one. Under the component, you can have like another one, and just you can have like as much of like the nesting of like the loops inside. I mean the forms or the folders inside this one. It doesn't matter. But for now, we're going to have like just one component over here, and we're going to call it, let's say, what do we have here? Checkbox, right? So we're going to call it a checkbox. So let's call this one new file and checkbox.js. So what we're going to be having on a functional component, it is even much easier to work with than that of like the the class component. So the only thing is we're going to import still the React from React, and we're going to have like a function, and we're going to give it a name, which we're going to call it like a checkbox, and we're going to have like a very plain, old-fashioned kind of a function over here, and we're going to pass props over here. On the case of like the class component, if you remember, like the way how we're going to pass like the properties is going to be through the constructor, just like this one. And on the case of the functional component, then you're going to need like a props. And the only requirement that to make this one is just to have like a return, and you have to return, like the JSX. So we're going to let's say on this one, or let's do like the input itself, type equals checkbox, and let's do that one. And we have to export default, and we're going to give it the name. And pretty much this is all you need. All the rest of the things over here are going to remain the same. Like say, while you are having in the return, then if you want to have, you can also have it like within bracket like this. And if you want to have like any reference on that one, the usual stuff can continue. Let's say get label. And if I want to have that, and I'm going to say return test, for example. And if I want to make this one as a part of this one, then the usual stuff will continue, which is I'm going to have it like under the squiggly bracket, and then I'm going to this get, not this, we don't have like this thing over here, get label. And of course, this one is complaining because we need to have it like all under this one. All right. So if I now pretty much we're done with this one, and the way how we're going to add it is, let's say we're going to add it as a normal child component over here. So I'm going to come here right next to that like the form, or right next to that like the button, just so that we can check it that we have checkbox. And we're going to do that, and automatically Visual Code might have already added the dependency for us. If not, we're going to add that. So we're going to say import checkbox from, then we're going to say component and checkbox. And remember, like we're on app.js. So from app.js, first we're going to go to the component, and from the component, we're going to go to like the checkbox.js stuff. So let's go back and then take a look at it. And then checkbox is not defined. Let's see, where is that complaining? App.js on 91. Is that from the previous one? Let's reload it. All right, that was from the previous one. So as you can see, like submit is going to be adding like a test, and this one is like the usual test that the checkbox that we're having. And just to go over it, like we created a checkbox, a component for a checkbox, and it's going to accept like a props at this moment, like it's not accepting anything, or just we're not passing anything on this one, but we're going to come back to that one. But the whole idea is pretty much like this is all about like creating the functional component. The only thing is you're going to have like the function, and you're going to give it the name, and you're going to pass the props as a parameter. And the only requirement is you need to have like a return inside it, and then you need to pass like the JSX for that. All the other thing, just if you want to have like the states and the stuff, we're not going to be handling it on this video, but we're going to see on how to handle that one using the hooks. So for this one, we're going to be just using the states. But for now, anything that you want to do in a normal function, you can go ahead and then just perform it inside there. So continuing with that one, like if I want to, when I'm using it, if I want to pass like some of the values, for example, let's say we have it over here. Let's say the label, I want to pass it from this, I just want to say a label from parent. And I want to make a part of that one. Now we know label is going to be a prop. So it has already been passed to as a part of the props. So I'm not going to do this one. Well, I can return this thing as props dot label and label. And this would be getting like the label on the, you can also directly have it like props dot label over here. But since we have used this one, I'm just trying to be consistent on that one. So if we are having from there, then we're going to see label from a parent is going to be a part of this one. Now you got the idea that this is on its own. It is going to be one component which is going to be just doing pretty much like one task. And we can reuse this one by passing the appropriate properties to this one and then implementing it. So if we do that quickly, like we don't need these things. This was only for testing purpose, so we can test that out. And what I wanted to do is just to have this one to be at the part of component. So what I'm going to do is checkbox, and I'm going to pass a couple of things for this one. The first one is type is already known, but I'm going to pass like a name, which is language. Oh, language. All right. Then I'm going to pass a value to be a lang. Then you're going to, let's have, let me do this thing so that we can have it like easily. And over here, I'm going to have also for value, we don't have it, checked equals the same thing as well. This data state that language, and we're going to say lang. And what else do we need? Like check type, we have it already, which is going to be checkbox. Name is going to be passed. Value, we have already passed it, and probably we need to pass also like the label. Label and equals to lang. All right, so and over here we have to do like the corresponding values on that one as well. So let me get rid of this one. Actually, let's leave this one as it is. But for this, name equals prop dot name. Then we have checked equals props dot checked. And what else do we have? We have named, we have checked, and we have a label as well, and the value. And we have value equals props dot value. All right. So if we go back and take a look at it, then you can see like PHP, Java, Ruby, C, and Basic are going to be just passed, just like the way we have been doing that. So I'm going to leave this one since I'm going to put this one on a GitHub for your reference. I'm not going to check this out. I'm not going to delete this one so that you can take a look at it and then see the difference between them. And one question you might be having is, well, this one looks like pretty much the same as the other one, but the problem, the main difference is now this checkbox is reusable. What it means is other components, if they need to use a checkbox, then all they have to do would be they don't have to create their own input or anything. They can just simply pass the property that they need, and they can have it from here without having any problem. So it would make it like, if we have to, let's say, invest the time on making it like consistent within like the styles or like the validators or anything, then it would be just a matter of like having it only once, and every other component can implement it without having any problem. Now, one more thing that we have left is just to have like the onChange. So you see, like we have the onChange event handler, which is handled on this one, and we have to have that one as well. So we're going to say callback, because this one is going to be just callback function. So callback equals then this that handle checkbox, and that would handle it properly. So onChange equals, we're going to say props that callback. All right. Then we are going to have like pretty much like exactly the same thing. Just let's go through this one just to see that probably this one is from the previous. So let's yeah, this one is like the complaining that the unique key has to be there. But on this one, like if I'm clicking on this one, which is the change, then we can see that this part has been called, which is this one, not this one, sorry. This one has been called, and then it's eventing it, just to make sure that we're updating it. So if I say call from checkbox component, and if I do that and then click on here, then I'm going to see call from checkbox component. So by that, we have completely taken out the logic, which was like handling the input and adding and everything, and we completely bypass it to that of like or we delegate it to the child, and from here, just the child is going to take care of it, like what it has to do with this one. All right, so this is how we are going to be just creating like a function, and also we're going to be just utilizing it. We're going to come back with the functions as we go further, but the main concept of like the functional component is pretty much covered over here. All you need to do is the function name, and also you need to have like a return in which you're going to be just passing your JSX. And this one is like the older version of like creating a function. You can also utilize the newer or ES6 as well. So you can say const, and this one equals props, and you can pass that one. And of course, for the props, you can take that out as well. And it should remain the same. There is no any difference between the two. Just the way how you have created it, whether it is using like the ES6 or the previous one, then it doesn't matter. Like I started with the function so that you can see the difference, but the most common one, especially on the newer ones, are going to be just to utilize the ES6 version of like the function. All right. So with that, we're going to conclude this video. Again, if you like this video, please don't forget to smash the like button. And if you haven't subscribed it yet, then please subscribe to the channel so that you can get like the latest updates on upcoming tutorials. With that, I'm going to wind up this one, and I'm going to see you on the upcoming videos. Thank you for your attention.